Good evening and thanks for joining us on News 360. We're live from our news hub here at the Subway Kanda in Accra. I am Aisha Yakubu.
My name is Alfred Okanse. Coming up tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil, Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
and Napa Foods, My Life Insurance.
Electoral Commission to go ahead to compile new voters register next month.
There's no truth in that.
When you deny, you are not acting in the national interest.
And debate on whether MPs should publicly declare their COVID-19 status begins after hints that two of them have indeed tested positive.
Also coming up, Taka in Swayim Assembly members prevented from casting their ballots to confirm MCE nominee Benjamin Kesse calls for fresh voting.
Also tonight in business, integrated customs management systems to take over single window process at the country's ports from next month after problem-ridden start in May.
On the international front, Zambia's health minister tests positive for coronavirus, making him the second cabinet minister to contract COVID-19.
We have details of these stories and more, with including that's sports and business and entertainment coming up on the next 60 minutes. We're live and interactive as well. TV3 Ghana on Facebook, streaming live as well on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Well, this is your election command center. Now, the Electoral Commission has fixed late June to compile a new voters register to pave way for the December 7 general elections. Now, the Commission intends to use 30 days to get 17 million Ghanaians onto a new electoral roll. These were the highlights of today's IPAC meeting in Accra.
Even though the Commission did not provide a definite date to begin the process, it was sure by late July registration will be complete. 6 political parties boycotted Wednesday meeting to update members of IPAC on measures taken by the Commission. The inter-party resistance against the new register believes the current register is credible and wants the Electoral Commission to use it. Although the PNC boycotted the meeting, its national organizer, represented by Desmond Chumesi, showed up and again staged a walkout.
My chairman has written to them that going forward, why don't you look out for a bigger place where if even you want to invite just one person, all the political parties can be in that hall. Then we can discuss going further. Okay. The issue or the Electoral Commission is adamant. They don't want to respond to our letter. And so I don't see the reason why we as a political party should sit down in the meeting.
Other political parties, including the NPP and the CPP, expressed satisfaction at the conduct of the meeting. General Secretary of the MPP, John Buedu, is upbeat about the decision taken by the Electoral Commission.
The nation is going to be divided into clusters, and each cluster will be made up of a number of polling stations per cluster. The cluster will be at a place for 6 days. They will use 1 day for movement of material to the second phase of the cluster. And we have 5 phases. So in all, you have about 30 days for the registration. You have 4 days for the movement of the machines. That's a day's interval. Then they will have additional day for them to also regroup after the 5th phase of the registration. Then use 3 days for mop-up.
Acting General Secretary James Kwabena Bonfe represented his party.
We had a very good meeting. It was a pleasant one. We had conversations about reservations, views about what the EC was doing, where they had to take issues on board for their commission discussion. They've taken them on board. I'm sure in the first week of June, they will be piloting the process with respect to the equipment that they are going to use to capture various bio data.
For the third time running, the Electoral Commission has been emphatic. This year's electoral process and this year's registration exercise will go on as scheduled. But the question still remains that will the 6 political parties that abstain from today's IPAC meeting, what would they think from the Electoral Commission? Thomas Adutai Papo, TV3.
Now, as you may already know, the Electoral Commission put on hold its plan to compile a new voters register on April 18 following the outbreak of the coronavirus in the country and subsequent imposition of a ban on public gatherings. The Commission's decision to compile the new register has been met with mixed reactions from some political parties led by the NDC and some civil society organizations. Here's a News Desk report.
The Electoral Commission's decision to compile the new register has been met with mixed reactions from political parties and some civil society organizations. While the NDC and 5 other parties, referred to as the Inter-Party Resistance Against the New Voter Register, are against the decision registering their protests through demonstrations in parts of the country, the NPP and 12 other political parties have backed the move. Some 18 civic society organizations, including CDD, Imani Ghana, and the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, at a media briefing also declared their opposition to the compilation of a new voter register. The CSOs have yet that, rather than compiling an entirely new register, the EC should open the existing biometric register for verification and update the existing software and hardware of the system. Regardless of the objection and resistance, the EC was bent on proceeding with the exercise until the COVID-19 outbreak in the country, which culminated in the president's imposition of a ban on public gatherings in a bid to contain the spread of the virus. This has necessitated the adherence of some safety protocols, which the EC says it would observe when the registration commences. The EC has again asked Parliament to amend Regulation 1 of Constitutional Instruments CI 91 to enable the use of the Ghana card as the only evidence of identification for a person who applies for registration as a voter. Apart from the 2 documents, the EC is also pushing that an eligible voter could guarantee for up to 10 prospective applicants, which the minority disagrees. Moreover, the NDC has dragged the Electoral Commission to the Supreme Court over the new voters register compilation, praying the court for an order directed at the EC to include all existing voter identification cards duly issued by the second defendant EC as one of the documents serving as proof of identification for registration as a voter for the purpose of public elections. In a writ invoking the original jurisdiction of the court, the NDC is seeking a true and proper interpretation of Article 45A of the 1992 Constitution on whether the EC has the constitutional power to and can compile a register of voters only once and thereafter revise it periodically as may be determined by law. It is further seeking a declaration on whether the EC can only revise the existing register of voters and lack the power to prepare a fresh register of voters for the conduct of the December 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. Parliament has already approved 444,846,663 for the compilation of the register.
Well, the NDC had concerns about the structure of this meeting. We're also hearing right now that they are saying they received a letter from the Electoral Commission for this meeting. The time stated on that letter was 10 p.m. Now, we've checked. The MPP also received the same, with that same time, 10 p.m., and the PNC as well. But Joseph Armstrong, my colleague, is at the NDC headquarters to gauge the mood there. He joins me on the telephone. Armstrong, thank you. What are you gleaning from what's happening in the NDC headquarters?
Yeah, Thank you very much. You can say he's still here at the NDC head office, and I've been here since 4 p.m. And because we heard that the NDC is preparing to issue a press release after the IPAC meeting that took place earlier today. So, luckily enough, I'm here with the Director of Elections, person of Efili Ankra, who now says that, well, he can talk to us about the release now. So let's quickly have him on the phone now to tell us what exactly the release has for us. We are live on TV3. So what exactly do you make of today's IPAC, and what is your press release about?
Well, we're going to state our position on the things that have happened today at IPAC. Evidently, it was not an inter-party advisory committee as the name IPAC denotes, but it has turned out to be an inter-party information committee. This is what Jim Mensah has introduced to IPAC. They don't listen, they don't take in any inputs. It appears as if they take a position, they made a decision, and they want everybody to go along with that decision. So, really, there was no point really in attending, even though there are issues with our invitation and all that. But,
So, your press release, what exactly is it saying? What are you making out of today's IPAC meeting?
When the release comes, you'll see it. So, we'll talk about the issue.
The compilation of the voters register is coming up anyway.
It will not come. You see, what we've been saying that people are not getting is that this is not the first time that we're having a registration exercise in this country. We've had several registration exercises, from limited registration to major registration exercises. If you look at the processes that we go through, the engagement, the openness, the transparency, that has not happened now.
But this is happening ending of June. You have a date.
Where's your calendar?
The date they gave us is ending of June. Hold on, ending of July.
Please. Where on your calendar is ending of June? What is ending of June?
Okay, so
that should tell you the kind of issue we have.
So what's the start of NDC now?
The ending of June. There's no date. So what we are saying is that if they attempt to force this, there will be chaos in this country. It's so clear. If they have a mandate to do this anyway, they have a mandate, but the mandate must be backed by common sense. You don't do stupid things because you have a mandate. You do things reasonably. You engage people. You engage stakeholders. How can they come in?
Armstrong. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, can say.
No, has Efili Ankra left you yet?
No, he's still here, and
I see. Anyway,
from him what exactly the NDC stand is now.
Okay.
He's still insisting that there's not going to be any compilation of the voters card, even though the Electoral Commission has issued that they are still going to go on to compile this. And I still don't understand what exactly is showing to that this thing is not going to happen. So I'll still be here, talk to you, maybe tomorrow we'll continue this conversation so that we see what exactly the NDC make of today's IPAC meeting and what their decision is now that the EC has confirmed that they are still going to go ahead with the voters register registration. You can say.
Anyway, it's unfortunate that it's left you, but thank you. Joseph Armstrong is my colleague at the NDC headquarters, and we did have to say that we do not subscribe to the use of that language by Efili Ankra there, that it needs to be said clearly that we disassociate ourselves from the expression of the stupid word used there in that conversation with my colleague, Joseph Armstrong. We disassociate ourselves here at TV3 from that statement.
Meanwhile, a senior research fellow at the Institute for Democratic Governance, Kwesi Jonah, has warned there could be problems if the Electoral Commission fails to comply with its intended plans in the compilation of the voters register slated for June and July. He spoke with TV3 after he sat in the just-ended IPAC meeting as an observer.
Registration is definitely coming on end of June to end of July.
Is there a specific date?
No, specific dates have not been announced. Altogether, it is going to take about 38 days. 30 days for actual registration, 4 days to move from one station to the other, and then 3 days for mopping up. So,
what do you make of the decision of the EC to carry out with the compilation starting from ending of June to the beginning of June to the end of July? That's what you said.
That is what they have decided. Personally, I think it is going to put a lot of pressure on the commission because there are so many other things to do.
Is it a good idea?
Well, it is good for the EC. It's a good idea so long as they...
But as IDEC, is it a good idea?
No, looking at previous registrations, 2012, we finished registration May 4th.
Do you think this could create problems for the EC, looking at the dates?
It is going to put a lot of pressure, definitely going to put a lot of pressure on them. But I think once they have decided to do it, they will also prime themselves up to meet the challenge.
But you think it will indeed create problems?
It will put a lot of pressure on them, yes, to finish things, try and finish things on time.
Any advice for the EC?
Well, the only advice I can give is that when in politics you talk to even those who are opposed to you, and so they should continue to be in constant dialogue with people who are opposed to their idea. Yeah. There's still time, end of June, end of July, there's still time to talk.
And this is your Election Command Center. We're going to be updating you on what's happening at the NDC headquarters in our subsequent bulletins. But to some more news, now to Parliament. But the Speaker of Parliament, Aaron Michael Quay, says the House will not be coerced into announcing the COVID-19 status of MPs. He made the remarks on the floor of the House after a heated debate over suggestions that 2 MPs and some parliamentary staff have tested positive for COVID-19. Here's a report by Kamala Kluche.
An express directive from the Speaker that all members and staff must test for the virus given last week. The test has been done with about 629 samples taken. The confusion over who has and who does not is rife.
Nobody knows whether anybody has tested positive. We would want to let you know that there's no truth in that.
When you deny, you are not acting in the national interest. Because when I get, you don't know how many people have come into contact with. So when you conceal it, what are you doing with the spread? You are not helping the fight against the COVID. And in my view, this is not the right thing. Let's admit and tell them the step that is going on to reassure the public that everything is safe, everything is under control, but not to lie about it.
The legislature has been rocked with confusion over whether to announce those who have contracted COVID-19 or not.
I'm quite surprised about what happened a few days ago when we were told that during the test that we started on Tuesday and Monday, some staff and some members of parliament tested positive. There was a denial. It doesn't help anybody if we keep on denying such things. It is not right.
Once you use the word denial, there's an assumption that there's a truth which you're running away from. Nobody has established that, and it is good for all of us to stay on safer grounds so that we are able to send the right signals to the public.
But the calls are even stronger than just the denial or confirmation of media reports by the leadership.
If a member of parliament or parliamentary service staff has tested positive, there should be contact tracing, and everybody who came into contact with them must go into isolation. And I'm saying, given the way parliament operates, if any of those 2 individuals found their way into the chamber, they possibly would have spoken with some other MPs. Those MPs would also have spoken with other MPs. So do the contact tracing. Ask all of us to go into quarantine and self-isolation for 14 days and test.
But I believe in confidentiality. I don't know the purpose that he wanted to communicate. So for me, if a member of us, from what he's saying, has contracted the virus, after all, the person will be treated. But I cannot stand here and say yes to what he has said because I've not seen the people. And there is no way, if somebody has got the virus, he'll come and tell you.
An angry speaker says the House will not be coerced into announcing the status of MPs.
We should show that we are not in a hurry to disclose names worthy of a headline. And it is my view that such sensationalism, where it's going on, must stop because they rather encourage stigmatization. When you sensationalize news, you encourage what? Stigmatization.
Kamala Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, the debate on whether MPs should publicly declare their COVID-19 status has begun. Evelyn Tingma has been seeking views.
God is so good, He's so good to me.
That was how someone who had recovered from COVID-19 elsewhere in the world was received back home. Nothing like stigma was at play. High-profile personalities, including world leaders like UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, Prince Charles, British Health Minister Matt Hancock, among others, all contracted coronavirus and their status were made known. They have subsequently recovered. But the story in Ghana with regards to COVID-19 is different. People known to have contracted the virus are being stigmatized against, with some losing their jobs as a result. The debate on whether to make known or not the status of MPs who have been tested for the virus has just begun. A senior research fellow with IDEC, Dr. Kwesi Jonah, has underscored the need for Parliament to be transparent.
Nothing should be hidden. It is not a secret lodge. The fact that some opponents will use it against them, maybe in the primaries and so on, is completely irrelevant. The Speaker must make sure that even if they are not going to mention names, that a certain percentage of our parliamentarians have contracted. Therefore, these are the measures that we are going to use to protect not just the MPs, but their constituents. Their constituents go to them. Party members go to them.
Social psychologist and senior lecturer at the Department of Psychology of the University of Ghana, Dr. Wiafe Akenteng Brenya, however, thinks otherwise. He says due to stigmatization against persons who have contracted COVID, it would not be prudent to make known the COVID status of the MPs, as that could affect them emotionally, psychologically and socially.
We are in election year, and you know the way our politics are played sometimes. This is not an illness that somebody acquired through certain lifestyle that society frowns upon. But it can be used in a way that it can cost someone his seat. So in the same way that we want to protect ordinary people, you and I think that we also have to protect our parliamentarians.
Dr. Wiafe Akenteng Brenya argues the perception about COVID-19 in Ghana is negative compared to other jurisdictions, adding that the stigma against MPs could be higher than that of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Even though they are representative, we need to be sure that they are in good health to work for us. For now, looking at the stigma and all the public perception about COVID-19 positive patients, let's hold on for a while.
He wants more education on stigmatization.
We're going to the Western region now, and the 22 assembly members of the Takwa Nswayim Municipal Assembly in the Western region who were prevented from taking part in the confirmation of MCE nominee Benjamin Kesse are calling for a fresh exercise. The aggrieved assembly members say the process contravenes the Local Government Act 2016, Act 936. The 22 assembly members of the Takwa Nswayim Municipal Assembly insisted they were prevented by scores of police officers from entering the premises where the confirmation of the MCE was taking place. Expressing their resolve to go to court, Assembly member for Benso electoral area, Frank Justinafo, insisted the process was illegal and as such, Benjamin Kesse cannot hold himself as the municipal chief executive.
We wish to state that the actions by the regional minister and the member of parliament to use the police to prevent duly elected assembly members to exercise their constitutional right to vote on a nominee for the position of MCE was not only barbaric, crude and irresponsible, but also an affront to the democratic tenets of the countries and a threat to the local governance practice.
Other affected assembly members said the interests of thousands of electorate they represent have been disrespected through the illegal process.
This has never happened in Takwa. We want the president to intervene. Otherwise, the party will lose its parliamentary seat.
No way, Sunny, if this one mem, no one may not as a papa, no friend,
The presiding member of the assembly, Manuel Gado, who was recently elected, was not present at the confirmation ceremony.
Well, we tried to get through to Dr. Eric Odosa, is a local government expert on this situation, because about 43 in total, that's the assembly members who were supposed to vote to elect this new MC or confirm the nominee. But 21 of them did so. 19 voted for him, 1 voted against, and then the other was a sport ballot. So we want to really know the legality of such a situation. Does the MC have the legal basis to hold himself still as the MC of the area? Still, as we're getting to it. But this is what the cases of Ghana's COVID-19 case count looks like. As you might already be aware, 7,117 came in earlier in the day. Also, the regional breakdown is what is of interest. The Greater Accra region has gone beyond the 5,000 mark now, and the Ashanti region has also gone beyond the 1,000 mark, now 1,085. The Western region, which is now the new hotspot, has 344 cases. We do know that tomorrow the Sekendita Metropolitan Assembly will close down major markets in the Western region in a bid to control the spread of COVID-19. The Central region, 337. You see right there, the death cases has actually increased to 2. So that's additional 2 cases, making the case count for the death cases in Ghana 34. Now, these 2, we understand, is a 64-year-old male with known diabetic who presented with severe respiratory symptoms at a hospital in Accra. He was admitted but died after 2 days. The second death case, which makes up the 34th person, is a 60-year-old female, a known hypertensive, presented with severe respiratory symptoms, and also, unfortunately, 2 days after her admission, passed on. So we have 34 cases of death in total. We have eyes on this, so be updated. We'll be back shortly after this quick break here on NEWS360.
A very good evening to you. Thanks for staying with us on NEWS360. Let's do business. My name is Nana Ikuya Mensah Brampa. We've been updating you on happenings at the various sports. Well, let's look at the detail of what is happening. And the Ghana Community Network Service Limited and West Blue Consulting are to shut down their operations for Integrated Customs Management Systems, ICOMS, to take over the single window process at the country's ports by May 31. The Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Amishadai Owusu, has written to vendors and port stakeholders indicating all transactions shall only be processed with the ICOMS from Monday, June 1.
ICOMS is expected to go live at the Tema port from Monday, June 1, as the 2 trade facilitation vendors, GCNet and West Blue Consulting, winds up the operations. A letter signed by the Acting Commissioner General, Amishadai Owusu, has instructed that effective Monday, June 1, all manifest submissions by shipping lines should be done through ICOMS for vessels arriving and departing the Tema port. CCVRs generated from bill of entries must be conducted through the new system. It further stated that all uncleared cargo with a bill of entry created in the GCNet and GEMIS platform would be given a special custom procedure. Officials of ICOMS say the 3rd phase of the simulation exercise for deployment has been completed with freight forwarders and other stakeholders. A government delegation led by the Trade Minister, Alan Kojo-Tremantin, assured stakeholders of a successful takeover. A freight forwarder shared his assessment after a simulation exercise.
Yes, we have undergone some form of training. Our members have been advised to continue to practice. What's exciting a little bit about it is the pre-manifest module, where you can actually do your declarations way before the arrival of the vessel. So this gives you a little bit of time to, you know, cross your T's and dot your I's, pay your duties whilst you relax and wait for the vessel.
IQM officials say the system is already live in Takoradi and other land borders. More than 1,000 manifests have successfully gone through the new system at the Takoradi port. Officials of the new system have allayed fears over possible disruptions should GCNet shut down.
All right, so once simulations have started, we'll see how the process would be by June 1, 2020. But away from the ports now, a pupil teacher from Hohoe in the Volta region, Avadu John, has emerged the 21st unique prize winner of the 787 weekly draw. He won 20,025 cedis.
Avadu won 2 out of the 5 tickets he purchased for 25 cedis. 25 cedis was paid into his mobile money wallet instantly, while a check for 20,000 cedis was presented to him Wednesday morning. He was grateful for the cash, adding his dream of furthering his education would now be realized.
I've been hoping to further my education. So now that the opportunity has come, I must grab it. Pick up your phone and play. It is a genuine game. It is not a fraudulent game. So please, do that and succeed.
Head of Customer Experience, Richard Akotobamfo, said helping customers to create wealth and satisfaction is the goal of the 787 lottery.
787 lottery has come to stay. It has come to assure players and participants that there are amazing and big prizes out there for everyone. You can just participate and also be a winner, just like Avadu. Everyone can be a winner with *787#. Just dial now, participate and win big.
787 is a mobile lottery platform that offers customers the opportunity to participate in a lottery game in the comfort of their homes. Aside the Saturday regular draw, there's the special Tuesday draw where 25 players pocket 200 Ghana cedis, as well as the special Thursday draw where 3 players are rewarded 1,000 cedis each. All tickets purchased for the special Tuesday and Thursday draws automatically qualify for the regular jackpot draw on Saturday. The next jackpot and unique prize would be held on Saturday, May 30, where the winner stands the chance of bargaining some 105,000 cedis. One can dial *787# to participate in subsequent draws. A ticket is sold for 5 Ghana cedis.
And chairman of the board of directors of the African Export-Import Bank has observed the need for Africa to increase trade among its members rather than waiting for bailouts from outside the continent. Professor Benedict Oke-Orama was speaking on the UBA Africa Day 2020 conversations.
The collective need to be together, to reaffirm our faith in our continent and ourselves. What COVID-19 has taught us is that there comes a time when every group of people fend for themselves. There comes a time when you must be independent.
He noted the future of Africa and steering the wheel to achieve sustainable development is the African Continental Free Trade Area.
We hope, and I hope, that the message that this COVID-19 is teaching us about independence will help us to integrate our continent better, so that we trade better, invest amongst ourselves better, and promote our growth and development as a people without always looking out for others to bail us out.
And just before we go, the cedi has depreciated marginally against all of its major trading currencies. Talking about the dollar, the euro, and the pound. You can get more detail of that on 3news.com. That's it for Business Tonight with me, Nana Ikuya Mensah Brampa. News 360 continues after this. Good evening.
Welcome back. And in sports tonight, with the approval of the Executive Council, the General Secretary has appointed Alexander Nikwe Kote as the referees manager of the Ghana Football Association. The referees manager will head the refereeing department of the GFA and shall also report to the General Secretary. The appointment of the referees manager by the General Secretary is in accordance with Article 44K of the GFA Statutes 2019. Let's go straight to Nigeria, where German coach Gernot Rohr has extended his tenure as Super Eagles manager after signing a new deal on Thursday. Rohr agreed to a 2.5-year contract extension with the Nigerian Football Federation, a deal that will see him remain in charge of the Eagles until after the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The 66-year-old Gaffer accepted a pay cut and also agreed to reside in Nigeria. His immediate task will be to qualify Nigeria for the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations and the World Cup. Since his appointment as Super Eagles coach in August 2016, Rohr has managed 49 matches. He's also recorded 29 victories, 11 draws and 9 losses. This statistics with the Nigerian national team shows that Rohr has a 59.18% win ratio. English Premier League now. And Premier League clubs have unanimously voted to resume contact training as Project Restart moves to phase 2. Players will be able to train as a group and engage in tackling while minimizing unnecessary close contact. That's a statement released earlier today. Discussions continue on plans to resume the season when conditions allow, as a statement added. Still stay with the Premier League, and Jose Mourinho has confirmed that both Harry Kane and Son Heung-min are fine, but he's unsure whether they are ready to play or not. Tottenham have been without their two most potent attacking threats for months now. It's prior to even the COVID-19 impact on the league. Now, prior to the suspension of the Premier League, Mourinho was struggling for options in attack as Son picked up an injury in Tottenham's win over Aston Villa on February 16th. So, yeah, that's for you Tottenham supporters to look out for. Well, that's it for sports. Let's hear from Jose Mourinho now.
Is to be ready to play football. And in Harry's case, I think for about 5 months that he doesn't play a football match. But all of them, they are not injured anymore. They are training. Of course, training is what it is. Training has a lot of limitations. We cannot compete. We cannot do ones against ones. We have to keep a certain distance. We cannot compete. So we are in this moment just for a few days in groups of 5. Before that, everything was individual. But Harry Kane, Son, Bergwijn, Sissoko, all of them, they're fine.
For sports, we'll be back shortly with entertainment news. Anita is standing by.
Hello there, time now for some entertainment news. I'm Anita Ikufu. Now, gospel musician Nketia has waded into the conversation on some gospel musicians adding a touch to Methodist and Pentecost songs. He believes if the song makes an impact, then he has no problem. The gospel space has for some days now been heated following comments passed by UK-based event promoter DJ Alodia. He argued on Unia FM that Joe Metal has a huge audience appeal abroad due to the quality of his productions. His submission triggered a response from Patience Nyakun, who was a guest in the studio. She could not fathom why Joe Metal would be rated above others who write their songs. Speaking on Showbiz 927 on 3FM, Noble Nketia said it is true that Joe Metal has chalked all the successes that have been attributed to him.
When it comes to streams and it comes to sales, internationally, if we're looking for somebody to represent us, there's nobody else that can do it than Joe Metal.
Which is a fact. He's the most patronized across the world, so that's a fact.
On whether Patience Nyakun's him argument is relevant, Noble Nketia said he sees nothing wrong with his colleagues excelling with songs they did not compose.
Do you candidly think that if people do not appreciate what he does, he will do what he's doing? There's a song that he did, one of the hymns that he did. I never appreciated that music until he did that song. What it means is that he's renewed the song for me, and as an individual, it is blessing me. The bottom line for us as Christians is the song being a blessing to you. It doesn't matter if it's a hymn or it's not. If it is a blessing, it's a blessing.
I see miracles, signs and wonders.
British actor Idris Elba, together with Viacom CBS Networks Africa and YouTube, hosted an Africa Day benefit concert with Africa's biggest stars on Monday, May 25th. The concert was to raise funds for food and health assistance in Africa following the COVID-19 pandemic.
Africa Day benefit concert at home.
The Africa Day benefit concert at home aimed at raising funds to help families and children in the continent affected by the coronavirus pandemic by donating all proceeds raised. The 2-hour concert brought together a star-studded lineup of Africa's superstars like Burna Boy, Shoma Josie, Stonebwoy, Manifest, Diamond Platnumz, Tenny, and many more.
Shooting star, a blockbuster, I'm a young stunner, I'm a stockbroker. So many haters on my Instagram.
Meanwhile, Africa Day commemorates the successes of the Organization of African Unity in the fight against colonialism and apartheid, as well as the progress Africa has made. That's it for entertainment. My name is Anita Ekia Ekufo. Have a good evening.
National news this evening. Zambia's Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya has tested positive for coronavirus, making him the second cabinet minister to have COVID-19. Information Minister Dora Siliya went public about her test results last weekend in order to fight the stigma associated with the virus, she told the BBC. Now, the health minister's test results were announced after a press briefing updating the nation on the latest figures. In the last 5 days, Zambia has recorded 137 new cases, bringing the new total to 1,057. 7 people have died from the virus.
I want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
My name is Aisha Yakubu. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good evening.